If I could redo my entire college experience, I would have worked a lot less hard. Let me explain. So, when I first got to college, I was basically extremely social and always went out, hung out with friends, and I focused more on the social side of things than I did on the schoolwork side of things. And that was a lot of fun. But then there were a lot of circumstances in my life at the time that caused me to feel insecure and sort of feel like I wasn't the person that was meant to be. I wasn't the best version of myself. I was putting up with people who weren't respecting me. I was ignoring time that I should have been studying and working. And ultimately, I just looked at myself in the mirror and I realized that this wasn't me. And this wasn't what I was destined to become. I realized that there was more that was meant for me in the world than going out every night and instead of studying and actually setting myself up for a good future. And so as a result of this, I obviously I just said that I would work less hard, but then after I realized that I need to improve myself, I took self-improvement way too seriously after this. As soon as my freshman year was over, entering my sophomore year, I essentially went into self improvement mode where I was slowly isolating myself over time and going out less with people. And looking back, this was one of the biggest mistakes because I think a lot of young people need to socialize and go out and have fun, but do it in a healthy manner. And so what I was doing, I was staying in all the time and self-improving, right? Improving myself. And I essentially just wasn't going out ever. I had every day micro planned out by every 30 minutes. And I was overworking myself because I wouldn't allow any downtime. I was working on stuff 7 days a week. I was starting side hustles. I was studying. I was going to class. I was working out. I was getting up early and going to bed early. And I was in the most rigorous routine that I could possibly have built for myself because I thought that's how self-improvement worked, but it was wrong. It was one of the biggest mistakes, and the negative consequences of this were that a lot of friends that I made freshman year, I lost. And I think a lot of people thought I was weird, and a lot of people started to realize that I was a completely different person, which paradoxically was what I wanted, but they thought I was different in a bad way because I was never going out, and it makes sense. I was in self-isolation. I was in solitude. I wanted a lot of self-improvement in terms of external validation. I wanted more money. I wanted a better physique. I wanted to look better, and that stuff was just chasing. That was one of the worst things I could have ever done because it caused me so much mental anguish during that self-improvement journey. And I just was overworking myself after freshman year. And I realized that this was very painful because I was chasing that external validation. But in the end, at this point in my life, I realized that if I could redo everything, I would have been a lot more social throughout my entire college experience, spent time with more friends, met more people, just because I think that's what humans need. I think humans need connection. Humans need that connection with other people. And I didn't have that for, I think, 2.5 years when I was on the self-improvement journey. And it was difficult because I realized how many memories and how much time I missed out on. But in the same breath, I grew a lot internally because I experienced a lot of discipline and I experienced a lot of mindset improvements just by being with myself more and being alone more. I learned more about myself. I learned more about how I think, which actually ended up benefiting me in the gym. It benefited me in schoolwork. It benefited me in a lot of areas of my life because I grew internally. And so that's what I would say is I would redo college by not locking myself away as much. I would still have worked hard, but I would have made more time to spend time with people who mattered because we need that social interaction. And I could have actually improved myself by also spending time with people. And I think a good balance is necessary. I think people need to be alone and be around people they care about in a good balance in their life. So the main takeaway of this video is know that self-improvement is great, but only when you do it right. And doing it right means locking in and working hard on yourself, but with the goal to internally grow, not get external validation. And also spend time with people you care about, because humans are social creatures and you need to have the right balance. So I hope this saves you from making the same mistake that I made by isolating myself thinking that was self-improvement when I was in college. And instead what you should do is spend time with people who matter and grow internally. So I hope this helps you. Thanks for watching.